Hey, what's up, you amazing hackers? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing well today. I wanted to talk a little bit about the future of bug bounty hunting. And this is the second time that I'm recording this because the first time I forgot to press record. So let's get into it, shall we? Now, the first thing I wanted to say is before we get into the future of bug bounties, we need to get into where they are right now. That's important to know because of course, bug bounties, there's several different aspects of it, and that's something people tend to forget, which is very normal. People are always looking for things from their perspective. So I'm going to switch up your mind a little bit. Let's take the perspective of Kinepolis here. So Kinepolis is a client at Integrity, and let's say they have a huge asset pool and they want to have it tested. So they have two main ways of testing it. They can either get a pen tester and they can do bug bounties. Now, a smart program is going to do both because no program is going to join bug bounties without having done pen testing before. That's obvious. Now, I want to have as much value for my money as possible if I am Kinepolis. And what I want is I want to have every ethical hacker out there pulled together, and I want to have them hack my application because that pool of ethical hackers, everyone is going to have their unique strength. Somebody's going to be very good at testing web shops and they're going to test the ticket web shop and they're going to find vulnerabilities in it, while somebody else is going to be much better at business to business applications and they might not find much in here. So that's something that they want to achieve, is to have a big methodology as big as possible where everybody pulls together and where everybody gets tested by a unique skill. Now, a lot of hackers have been saying that bug bounties are very exploitative. That's something that I see is happening, but I don't really believe it because what these ethical hackers are saying is that you're basically working for free, especially if you don't find a vulnerability, then you might be working for free for months. But again, I'm going to context switch here because if I look at the Kinepolis way, those 50 researchers are going to test the same thing 50 times. And I don't want to pay 50 researchers to test the exact same thing. So that's why I don't believe that it's free labor. You're basically paid by reward, paid by result. There have been instances where this happened. I think this still happens in sales quite a lot. I'm not sure, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's still a thing in sales where you get paid by the results you achieve. And also in big public spendings, like if the government wants to build a bridge, that's the same thing. So that's one aspect of bug bounties. I don't really think it's exploitative. Another thing that I see coming up quite often is these extracurriculum activities. Like Integrity here, they will investigate the OWASP top 10 with the vulnerabilities that have been reported by them, which is something really good. Or you can go to Bugcrowd Academy, you can go to the HackerOne CTFs. There's many different ways to learn. And that's something I think that bug bounties should put a lot of effort into the future, is creating these academies and learning environments, because I think it's really of vital importance that we start looking at these ethical hackers in a different way. Right now, a lot of hackers are joining bug bounties, and we have a huge fallout because the hackers, they won't find anything for several days, weeks, or months, and they'll just quit because they'll think it's not for them. It might be a little bit too hard. They might return later, but they never do. I think it's time for bug bounty platforms to look at it in a different way, in a different aspect. Like, if we would have a great, extremely well put together training platform for ethical hackers, not bug bounty hunters, but ethical hackers, then we would have sort of like a sales funnel. And then if you put marketing onto that, and you might train your ethical hackers, you might train them to join your company to ethically hack for you. Of course, they might go to other to the competition as well. But as long as they're hacking for you, it would be good in my opinion. Of course, I don't know the return on investment. I don't know any of the numbers, so this is all just pure speculation for me. But I do see it coming to a much more education-minded way of thinking. So that's a very, very good way of thinking. Now, one thing about the HackerOne CTFs is if you get a flag, they will give you a private invite, of course, which is really good. But I don't think it's the right way of doing things at the moment. And I'm going to speak very honestly and openly here. I don't want to burn any bridges, and I don't mean this in a bad way either. But I think the invitations you get when you get a flag are kind of bland. Sort of like the invitations that nobody else wanted to hack on. And that's not something that I like to see. I'd like to see a spark in the hacker's eyes. And of course, they will get that spark. They will go into that program with full force, and they won't find anything because it might be a very limited scope program, might be a mobile hacking program which they won't have any experience in. So it's definitely something that is not for everybody. I realize that bug bounties is a strange world, but the more we have, the merrier, I would say. So definitely something I would consider. And I do see them putting a lot of money into education, which is really a good thing. That's not something that I would put aside. Now, a lot of you have been telling me that bug bounty platforms have been getting saturated, that there are too many hackers on these bug bounty platforms, and that you'll never find anything because look at this, 35,000 researchers for just 200 active programs. That's one thing, and you might be thinking, wow, I will never find a thing. But if you actually study the public programs and go and look at what's been reported, you will see that some of these public programs haven't had a report for over a few months. That's something that I find very strange because, of course, these 35,000 researchers, I don't know if they're active, but the thing is that, of course, they're going to test the program. You need to test it like your own thing. But let's say you have the very functional tester versus a very technical tester. That's going to split this base in half already. Then you might have people who are better at business to business, they're gone. Especially if you're testing Kinepolis, I mean, which is a cinema, by the way, in Belgium. So that's kind of a few things I wanted to say about bug bounties, where I think it's going. I don't think it's going the way of the dinosaurs. I think it's here to stay, and a lot more companies are joining. I think that a lot of more effort is being put into attracting researchers. I would put much more effort into attracting researchers, and I do see a lot of clients joining in the future. Not only these big clients, but also smaller ones as hacks become more prevalent. And of course, it might seem like it costs a lot of money, but like a responsible disclosure program doesn't have to cost a ton of money, especially not compared to when you actually get hacked. A lot of people have been saying VDP, vulnerability disclosure programs, are scams as well because they just take your labor. They don't give you anything in return but a few points. But I don't think it's true because those points do get you invites and they do further you along. I think you should grab every opportunity that you can and see if you can leverage it. That's something that I always try to do, and I think it's gotten me where I am today. I think bug bounties is going a great way. The bug bounty platforms are here to stay. Sometimes they will have their own bug bounty platform. It might differ from target to target, so pick your targets wisely. That's one last tip I wanted to give you as well. And thank you very, very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, everybody.